So the topic is clinical and radiographic diagnostics. So from your third year practicals, clinicals, you are learning about case history, how to examine gingiva, how to examine periodontal pocket, how to take radiographs and everything. But today we will not see how and why. We will just try to see different scenarios in which we do periodontal examination and how radiographs are taken. Okay. So I will try to show you 3 or 4 cases. We'll have a short discussion. I will discussion in the sense of I will talk. But we will see different cases, patients that come to our clinic and how we treat them. But we will not say how do you probe the pocket or how you check for the gingiva or what is stippling, why stippling is present. That we will not go into detail because that is actually a theoretical class. So basically, so when you get a patient with periodontitis or when you get a patient for which periodontal treatment is needed, what you do first prior to taking any radiographs or prior to asking the patient to do any test, okay, you do clinical diagnosis. So there's step by step you go to the final diagnosis. So first is always clinical diagnosis. Later on there is a supplementary aid. So what are the supplementary aids? Such as radiographs. In radiographs, you can ask the patient to get a full mouth X-ray, such as OPG, or you can ask the patient for periapical radiographs. Okay. Later, if you feel that this patient needs extra testing, such as microbial testing, okay, or any susceptibility, antibiotic susceptibility testing, okay. So for those testing, you will prescribe the patient a different test that will come into advantage, okay. So today we will just see what is basic, clinical, and radiography. So in clinical, few important points you need to remember are probing depth, there is bleeding on probing, how you check it, there is caucasian involvement, gingival recession, presence of mucogingival defect if any, okay. So in short, I'll just, we'll go to gingival examination later. First we will just see how do you probe periodontal pocket, okay. So I hope you all know what is probing depth. Okay, so what is probing depth? When it is normal, it is gingival sulfur, which is clinically on 2 mm, 2 to 3 mm. But when it is more than that, it is called as periodontal pocket. And probing depth is nothing but a distance from the gingival margin, okay, the soft tissue margin to the base of the pocket. Okay, so when you put your periodontal probe into the surface, so a point where it touches into the base of the periodontal pocket, the markings, we have to see the markings on the probe. And based on that, we will know how much millimeter is your pocket. Okay. So if that all know, you have to do around a tooth. Like whenever a tooth is there, around that at 6 places you have to probe. Okay. In this picture, as you can see there are 3 where the probe has been, there are 3 different probes, but we use a single probe and we probe at around 6 places around the tooth. So what are these 6 sides? One is mid-buccal, one is mid-lingual or mid-palatal. Okay. So these are 2 sides. Next is the line angle of the tooth, not into dental area. Okay. We go at the line angle of the tooth and we check for interdental bone loss, okay, or interdental pocket depth. So one on the mesial, okay, mesiobuccal and mesiolingual, these will be 2, and distrobuccal and distrolingual. So around any tooth, this system is known as 6-point probing system. So whenever asked in exam about how do you probe, you have to first say there is 6-point probing system that we follow, and we probe at all these sides around the tooth. Okay. Now, how should be the angulation? You cannot just put the probe like how you want to put it. It should always be parallel to the tooth surface. What will happen if you change the angulation all the time? Every time it will give you a new reading. Okay, because the underlying bony architecture will not be flat. Okay, so if there is bone loss, it will always be uneven. So every time you will get different reading. So it should always be parallel to the root. Okay. So what you understand from probing? So if whenever why do you do probing? To know the pocket depth. Probe can also be used to check the gingival status to see whether it is bleeding on probing. For attachment loss, how to check attachment loss, to check if there are any. Have you heard of cervical enamel pearls? Okay, these are the projections of the enamel onto on the cervical region. Okay, so see, around this region. So to check for any irregularities at the region, you do probing. Now, based on this, I will stop here. I will show you a case. Okay. Okay. So can you all see the image here? So this is a male patient, almost what is the age? It is a 45-year-old male patient, and he has, from the picture itself you can see, he has tobacco chewing habits since 2 to 3 years, 3 to 4 times a day. Okay. So in this picture, what is the first thing that you will check? Now we will talk from clinical point of view. Okay. First thing you get the patient on the chair is the probing the first thing that you will check? No. Okay, you cannot just immediately start probing the patient. Okay. First, what you will see the gingival treatment, observation only. Okay. No touching, nothing, only observation. So what you will see in gingiva, what are the factors? This is the first chapter that you all know. Then what are different clinical features of gingiva that you check? What are those? First is color, okay, color of the video. So you will see throughout. So when you write a case history, now you are in final year, you obviously know how you write case history. The patient's mouth is always divided into 6 sections, okay, and based on those sections, you will write all the findings. So first is color of the gingiva, okay, the contour. Okay, contour of what? Contour of the gingival margin. So how is the gingival margin? Is it scallop? Is it flat? That you will see. Okay. What is accentuated? Accentuated is what? The scallop has increased. Okay. So the scallop, when does the scallop increases? When there is recession. Okay. So accentuated scalloping, if it is present, then you will check for size of the gingiva. Size is nothing but enlargement. Whenever there is swelling, there is edema, there is inflammation, there will always be enlargement or swelling of the gingiva. So this is divided into grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. You should know this classification before you classify the size of the gingiva. What is next? The shape. The shape of what? Here, what is there? The shape of the interdental papilla. So, what is the shape of the interdental papilla in the anterior teeth and in the posterior teeth? Okay, so it is different for anterior and posterior. Then what you will see whether the interdental papilla is still pyramidal or triangular. Okay, or it has become blunt because of the recession. That you will check. You can stop me anytime and ask me. Okay. Next is what? Consistency. Consistency of what? The gingiva. Okay. So how is gingiva? Once you feel the gingiva, how is the consistency? What is the normal consistency of gingiva? Can anyone answer?
Firm and resilient.
Yeah. So firm and resilient. So in this patient, of course, on like you can see here the consistency. Even if you are not able to touch the patient here, the gingiva, you can see that it is soft and edematous due to inflammation. What is it next is surface texture. Surface texture, what you check? You check whether stippling is present or absent. So that you can see when you dry the gingiva using a cotton roll or ball, you dry the gingiva and you see there is orange cheese-like appearance. Whenever there is inflammation, your patient will not have stippling. Next is what? Position. Position of the margin with respect to what? Seating. So what is the position of the gingival margin with respect to seating? This will help us determine whether the patient has gingival recession or no, or enlargement. Enlargement is excess gingiva above seating. Okay. Then if there is bleeding on probing present, suppuration is what? suppuration and abscess. So there is a difference between suppuration and abscess. Abscess is always what is enclosed into the epithelial cavity, but suppuration is what that you see in this patient. You can see my pointer. In the posterior, you can see there is freely aspirate fluid from the sulcus that it is moving out. So that is nothing but suppuration. Okay. So next what you see whether your patient has pocket and clinical attachment loss. So I told you how do you check for pocket. Okay, using a probe. So what is this entirely? You will be confused. Like, what is this? You don't write this. Like you write this for your case history. Then your patient has chronic periodontitis. If any one of you have ever taken case history for chronic periodontitis patient or periodontitis patient, you will know what this is. Pockets. Why there are 6 columns for pockets for each tooth? Like I told you, there is 6-point probing test. Okay. Now you tell me what is clinical attachment loss. You have heard the term already. You know what are pockets. Okay, we already know what are pockets, how to probe pockets, and how to measure pockets. So what is clinical attachment loss? Uh, yeah. Yeah. So what is clinical attachment loss? It is the distance from the CJ to the tip of the periodontal probe, and it is done using what? Again, a periodontal probing. Okay, it is done using a periodontal probe, the head of the attachment apparatus. So what is the distance? How from this definition, no one will understand what is clinical attachment level. Okay, so from this diagram, can you at least try to imagine in the first diagram, that is A, you see a black line above CJ. Okay, scalloped line above CJ. It is your gingival margin. So in the first A diagram, your gingival margin is above CJ. How much above CJ? It is 3 millimeters. Okay, that black band on the probe is 3 millimeters. So it is 3 millimeters above CJ. But where is your bone, or where is the base of your pocket? It is how much? It is 3 mm below your CJ. Okay. So your pocket, if I am measuring a pocket, I put my probe inside the circle and my probe will measure 6 mm. So my pocket gets to 6 mm. That is for sure. But if I want to know what is my clinical attachment level, okay, then I will have to minus that 3 mm till the CJ. So clinical attachment level is always measured below CJ. Okay. So I'll minus that pocket above CJ and I'll get only 3 mm remaining below C. So that is my clinical attachment level. Now in the picture B, what you see in picture B? Picture B is again everything is same, only your margin is at CJ. Okay, and your pocket depth below CJ is 6 mm. So your clinical attachment level is also 6 mm because your margin and your CJ is at the same level. But in the picture C, now what is the difference in picture C? Picture C has recession. Okay, so this patient has 3 mm of recession. Okay, you can see that black margin, gingival margin is 3 mm below CJ, and your clinical attachment level will be measured from where? Always. No matter if your patient has recession, no matter if your pocket is less, your pocket starts from the margin to base of the pocket. Okay, but your clinical attachment level will always be measured from the PJ of the tooth. So here you already have a 6 mm pocket. Okay, so you have the 6 mm pocket plus you have 3 mm above your margin till your PJ. So here your entire clinical attachment loss is 9 mm. Okay, so which tooth has worst prognosis here? Obviously, the tooth with 9 mm of clinical attachment. Okay, as compared to the tooth with 3 or 6 mm of the clinical attachment. So, clinical attachment loss it depends on where your margin is. Okay, in relation to CJ. Okay, and your prognosis of the tooth not on probing depth, but your prognosis of the tooth is more dependent on the clinical attachment level, but not on the probing depth. So if my probing depth is 10 mm, but my clinical attachment level might be lesser, then the tooth will still have good prognosis. Okay. So I hope you understood this concept. So we will just see one more case. Can you all see the screen?
No, ma'am.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, now.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is one more picture where what you can see. Again, from this picture, first we will go through all the gingival status points. Okay, so whatever we had already discussed in another case, such as color, consistency, contour, size, shape, structure. Okay, so from this picture, why I'm showing you this case is see the photos. There is lot of recession present in the lower anterior, especially also with the upper canine. Okay, but in the posterior there is intact gingiva stability. But that doesn't mean that tooth will not have clinical attachment loss. Okay, so there will be probing pockets present that only could be checked using a periodontist probe. So using a periodontal probe after gingival status, next you will do periodontist probing. You will also calculate clinical attachment level. What is the next step that you will do? In this case, you will also check for recession. Okay, so we are done with gingival status. Then we will see periodontist probing. Then we will calculate critical attachment level. Okay, so in your exam also you make this type of chart always. Then you write your pockets. Then you calculate critical attachment loss. Then later, yeah. So these are what? These are X-rays. Like you saw the patient clinically now, you know wherever there is recession, okay? Now you tell me, you can see the X-ray of lower anterior region, okay? So there is this X-ray of lower anterior tooth. I know there is recession, okay? And now from the X-ray, I know the clinical attachment loss is too much because there is also recession in this case. If the patient had no recession in the lower anterior, okay, and if the patient only this much of bone loss I can see next to, but if clinically the patient had very good gingiva, then I would have said that this tooth has good prognosis. If I can do good root planing, if I could do grafting in this case, such as periodontal grafting, bone grafting, then I can save the tooth. So that's why Why I'm showing you this is because always correlating your clinical picture with your radiographic picture is important. Okay. So only from radiograph what I can say, okay, that is bone loss, but we can graph the area and we can save the tooth. But when I go back and I see lower anterior, okay, I see there is recession, okay, so there is no soft tissue also. Then my prognosis automatically changes, okay. Now there's, once you know about the recession, okay, once you are done with probing pocket, clinical attachment loss and recession. Recession I'm not going into detail. I hope you all know which classification of recession we follow. It is Miller's classification, okay. Once that is done, okay. So in yesterday's practical also I discussed with you about the frenal attachment. Okay. So frenal attachment is what? It is a mucogingival problem. So once you are done with recession, next we will check about all the mucogingival issues. Okay, such as width of the attached gingiva, the depth of the vestibule, and the frenal attachment. Okay. So the classification of penal attachment, you should know the treatment of all these we already discussed in the last lecture. Okay, so if there is any liquid width of attached eczema, what will happen? Depth of the vest. Okay. Last one PPT I will show is how do you treat such cases of bone loss, severe bone loss. Okay, and it will how it will depend on the soft tissue coverage that we have. Okay. So this is the case. What you can see here, in the canine, there is deep probing pocket depth present, okay, of 14 millimeters. So here I can see there is 14 millimeter of probing pocket depth present. This is the radiograph, okay. There is some amount of recession, some amount of pathologic migration with the tooth. The tooth is not in its arch, okay. My prognosis ultimately becomes from good or fair, it becomes little bit poor or questionable because there are so many other factors present. The tooth is not in the arch, okay, so there is friction with the tooth present. Still, we try to save the tooth. So we do a open flap replacement. So when we open, what you see, you already knew from your X-ray there is severe amount of bone loss present. So here what you see, there is J-shaped radiolucency is there. So J-shaped radiolucency is present, which is corresponding to the J-shaped bone loss. Okay. So you debride the area, you do grafting. Okay. There is some amount of endodontic treatment also involved, which you don't need to know right now. Epicectomy is done. Okay. So there is GBR and new suture. Okay. So after suturing, this is the picture, post-operative picture. There is good amount of bone take-up in the apical region, okay? But still, clinically, are you satisfied after so much of endodontic treatment and also the periodontal surgical treatment, grafting? The patient is still wearing a splint, okay, and the tooth is still outside the arch, okay? So how our prognosis changes, even if we have saved the tooth for the patient, which is good, but we did not get true regeneration of the amount that is required for long-term survival of the tooth. Okay, so this is the follow-up of the patient. Okay, no, it is not bad, but it is not ideal. Now I'll show you another case. See here, you can see the clinical attachment level. Okay, there is no to minimal recession present. Okay, the gingiva is also good, the texture, color, and everything. There's only one problem here. The patient is having a sinus. Why are we intervening here? Because the patient is having a sinus here, so there is some infection with the tooth. Endodontic treatment is done for the patient first, okay? Then we decide to raise the flat, and this is the picture that you get. So you should know your how important is your clinical plus radiographic diagnosis. You cannot just rely on clinical diagnosis and give clinical examination and give diagnosis for the patient. Okay. So here there is bone loss. See the amount of bone loss here. Again, an endodontic treatment is performed. Retro filling. What you see in the second picture is a bone graft. Okay, so we have covered the entire tooth with bone graft. We have also placed the membrane for the tooth. Membrane is nothing but if you have learned guided tissue regeneration, you all know this by now. Okay, so we have sutures. Okay, so this is the tooth. Okay, lateral, you can see in the OPG with the X-ray root canal done, and patient was given a 6 month splint. Okay, after the splint was removed, you can see in the radiograph there is good amount of bone formation. Okay, so there is as good as up to the CJ, there is good bone formation that is. Okay, so this is 3 and 4. So see the bone loss in the 3 and there is the 4th of it. Okay, so this was a small case just to show you the importance of both clinical and radiographic diagnosis. Do you have any questions? Anyone?
No, ma'am.
See, I just wanted to make it little bit clinical, that's why I did not go into detail of everything. Otherwise, I would have taken a normal lecture of clinical radiography probing, but that's not what we want in your practical. I hope you could at least see something new to this. Uh, So why we are here today, the most important thing is I am going to give a formative assessment thing